My parents are Christian, but I don't believe in God. They think I've been corrupted.
Oh boy, uncomfortable.
Pretty heavy. So I don't even know where to begin with this one. It's been a thorn in my flesh for as long as I can remember. Clever. Okay. For context, I am a 22 female and have recently graduated college. I grew up in a relatively normal environment with two loving parents. They were never overly strict and have often let me get away with more than I should have, LOL. I grew up as a non-denominational evangelistic Christian, same, and went to church every Sunday, was regularly enrolled in Bible study, vacation Bible school, and Christian camp over the summer. So there was always little to no doubt that the Bible was the truth to our existence from my perspective. Despite this, I never particularly wanted to go to church and saw it mostly as a chore. It does get kind of boring. I will say.
Yeah. That's, I mean, especially as a kid, that makes sense.
Yeah, growing up, hated it.
Yeah.
It's like being drugged to church. As early as I remember, I never got along with any of the other kids at my age that were in the church. I always found them to be self-righteous and often felt outcast. The Pharisees. By the way, this comes from Frog Lover 420 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit.
You can't say 420?
Oh, we can. I just didn't read it right.
Okay.
Sorry. I can't. No. You know, I can say it, but I'm just dyslexic. Okay.
Okay.
I remember one specific instance where I was at Christian camp at 9 years old, and my vocabulary consisted of phrases like "that sucks" and "what the heck." In response, of a group of girls reprimanded me for it and began to subtly exclude me from their hangouts. Dude, that is so sorry. In the Bible, Jesus is like talking to the Pharisees of like, you should include everyone just because they're different from you and not super as righteous. You should include everyone.
But then these guys are excluding him.
The girls are being these Pharisees. They're like, you say what the heck? No.
That's crazy.
You can't hang out with us.
Dang. That's hard because it's also such a kid thing to do, too.
Yeah. Similar situations like this persisted through my adolescence where I often felt like I didn't belong in a church community. Oh, that's so sad. They missed the point. I also took issue with a lot of things that were taught to young children as well. When I was in the 6th grade, I attended a weekly Bible study. One particular lesson had to do with what girls should and shouldn't wear in the presence of young boys. I took explicit issue with this because I feel like it was morally wrong for me to confine myself in order for a boy to control his natural urges. I talked to my mom about this, and she ended up siding with the teacher to my dismay. As I grew older and went through puberty, I entered a very difficult stage with Christianity. I repressed any attraction I had to the opposite sex in fear of sinning. I would have obsessive and repetitive thoughts about how if I didn't ask for forgiveness for all of my sins, I would be severely punished by God.
Dang.
She wasn't taught about a loving God. She was taught about a very like that kind of God.
Right.
Vengeful God.
Oh, that's hard. That
is so hard. I felt like I was at odds with everything I had been taught. My parents continued to enforce Christian values onto me, making it sometimes difficult having conversations with them, specifically my mother. When I entered college, I had a sharky relationship with Christianity. I felt very conflicted with everything, and no one seemed to have an answer that satisfied me. As I spent more time away from home in college, it hit me all of a sudden. What if everything I'd been taught wasn't true at all? I saw people from all walks of life at school, good and happy people who have never grown up Christian. I know this sounds crazy, but I had been taught that it was impossible to have true happiness or healthy relationships if you weren't Christian. I was taught that too.
Really? Yeah. Were you? Oh, that's crazy.
You always were pointed it towards Jesus. He's like, yeah. But I could see where this is conflicting.
Yeah.
While I began to gain healthy and loyal friendships with my peers, I realized this wasn't necessarily true. I strayed further away from Christianity, and the religious guilt and obsessive thoughts I had my entire life began to grow smaller. I realized my upbringing was only one of many, and no one had the same religious experience as myself. I felt stupid for not realizing it sooner. You can't put that on yourself.
Yeah, it's how you were taught and grown up.
Yeah.
You know, that's not your fault.
Yeah. Currently, I'm in a weird spot with religion. While it gave me so much explanation of why we exist, I had a strong set of moral principles. I have had a hard time believing anything as absolute fact. At this point, I really don't know the answer to anything, but I hope as I grow older, I will come to a conclusion for myself that will be satisfactory. Now, after that long-winded backstory, I want to bring up my current relationship with my parents. parents. My parents seem very Christian and set in their beliefs. It's hard to even talk to my mother specifically without her mentioning the Bible. I've spoke to her before about where I am 2 years ago, but I don't think it was any help. I know what she thinks of non-Christians as well, which makes me sick to my stomach knowing that that's what she thinks of me now. She believes they are essentially lost, and as I've said before, will never find true happiness. Anytime I'm struggling, I want to turn to my mother for advice. I am met with the same response: if you turn to God, everything will fall into place. I'm old enough to know that struggles are normal for someone my age, but it's hard knowing that I have such a disconnect with my mother. I've lived an extremely privileged life, and I am grateful for everything my parents have done for me. And while this issue is minuscule to the grand scheme of things, it's so hard to know that there will always be a huge rift in my relationship with my parents. As they grow older, I have become even more anxious about our disconnect, knowing that I don't have time with them forever, which kills me inside every single day. Even if I try to talk to my mother about respecting my own journey with religion, she will never accept it because to her, believing in the Bible is the only truth and will give me eternal salvation. Even to this day, I will carry a significant amount of guilt, and I will have issues with my and feel extraordinarily guilty when it comes to spicy sleep. I often fear I'm going to HE double hockey sticks despite not believing in it, and I'm scared that I will never find true happiness and I will one day have failed a marriage because I am no longer Christian. Even though I know modesty is completely subjective, I sometimes feel I'm sleazy for showing too much cleavage, etc. Even if I don't believe those thoughts are true, they still cause me anxiety because they were ingrained in me as a child. Oh, this is so tough.
Oh my gosh. This is so hard.
You're understanding and realizing the thoughts and issues. I mean, therapy, I think, would be
great. Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is hard because, like, I don't know. I didn't grow up that way.
Yeah.
I grew up without any religion in my life. But I've had many friends that are Christian and friends that were of other religions as well, and like learning all about that kind of stuff. And I don't know. It's just like, it just seems so strange. I don't even know how to talk about this.
No. It is strange. And like, I mean, I was Christian. I grew up Christian.
I'm not saying the religion sounds strange. I'm just saying, like,
I mean, it can't be strange.
My sentence, I didn't know how to finish my sentence.
It's strange
Seems strange to grow up that way and to have all of these like feelings of pressure on you about everything in your life. Yeah. You know what I mean? That just sounds very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I grew up the same as OP. I feel the same as she does in a lot of ways. And, you know, it is tough going that way. I think like a therapist could help, and also having a community.
Yeah.
That what has helped me is I found a community that are Christian, and they're not like those group of girls. You say bad words, I'm not going to be your friend. They accept me for who I am and where I'm at, and I'm willing to have those kind of conversations.
Right.
And they still like I have a good friend. Anytime I have issues, I talk to him, and him and I have the same mindset, and he backs me up and he knows where I'm at with this kind of stuff.
That's good.
And that support's great. I just hate that people treat you this way, and they don't love you for who you are, and now you feel bad for being who you are.
Right. I know, that's the hard part.
And that's not how it's supposed to go.
Right.
At all.
That's because so many things are just like, I don't know. It just seems hard to like I feel like growing up when you're young. How old is OP to be learning? 22.
She's your age.
Oh yeah. I forgot I was 22 for a second. Anyway, I feel like when you're young and like growing up just through high school and middle school and stuff like that, you're already learning about so many rules about how you should act towards other people, how you should carry yourself, how you should just like be as a person. You're already figuring out that so much, like all that based on your own experiences, and there's so much that you can take from other people's experiences and learning from other stories and stuff, but it just seems really hard to have like so many rules like put on you just from religion and from your parents with religion, when there's already so many things like that, so many pressures like that from everywhere else in your life. You know what I mean? I don't know. That just seems rough.
I'm so sorry, OP.
Yeah.
I wish I could turn to my mother and father, the people I love and respect more than anything in the world. I can't, because they will just reaffirm my fears. It truly feels like there is no way out of the situation, and one day I will just have to accept it. I really don't want that to be the case, because my parents are good people, and I want to be able to be close with them without feeling like there is this big wall of religion dividing us. They are proud of me and everything I have accomplished, but they still think my beliefs are fundamentally wrong and that I have been corrupted by modern culture. I guess I'm asking for advice on how to navigate this situation without feeling too defeated. I don't want to feel terrible knowing that my parents think I'm lost and am leading a life devoted of fulfillment. How can I amend this rift? Any people in similar situations that know what I can say or do to make them understand? But I hope you understand that we go live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile.
Just
what are your
tap
thoughts?
it. I don't know. I mean, I, again, didn't grow up this way, so I really don't know how you would go about it. Yeah. Honestly, what do you think?
I think it's super sad you've been in a Christian community and no one has been able to relate to you and meet you where you are, because Jesus is all about meeting you where you are.
Right.
And it sucks that no one in this community has done that.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
that's so tough.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if like trying to understand that, like, it seems like your parents aren't going to change.
Yeah, no.
Right.
No,
so
no.
you're not going to try to change your parents, especially if they're so adamant about this. I think it would probably just be about like accepting that this is just how it's gonna be, not in the way that like, you know, it's gonna be a problem forever, but just like if you can find some sort of like peace and acceptance in yourself that like it's okay for you to have a difference in belief than your parents, then maybe that will mean that you'll be able to kind of like, you know, deal with them not agreeing. You know what I mean? Like if you kind of just believe like, okay, this is how I am, this is an okay situation, it's fine that we disagree, then maybe you can just like take some deep breaths when they don't quite feel the same way, and you'll be able to kind of shrug it off a bit easier. I don't know. I don't know. That's really hard though.
Yeah, I'm on the train of hopefully you're in just a tough spot with God right now, and that like someone can help you and meet you where you are, and he can meet you where you are. And your parents, like, I hate that your parents have this idea and like this, like, it's so sad that the parents are like, anyone that isn't saved is lost and they don't know true happiness. Like, that's not how we should be viewing, like, as a Christian, that's not how you're supposed to be viewing people. It should be like, you know, hopefully they do know that Jesus loves them. I just hope that everyone knows that Jesus loves them, and it's just like, it's tough that in this way people just don't go about it that way.
Yeah,
breaks my heart, really.
And on the other hand too, it's like if you don't ever like go back to it, it absolutely is possible and very, very doable to like have a fulfilling and happy life without all of that, because I feel like, you know, everyone has their different experiences with that stuff. Everyone grew up a different way. Everyone, you know, there's so many other religions in the world, and whatever you feel connected to.
I am pretty biased, I will say, to this story. I am pretty biased.
I feel like we're both biased in like the opposite ways. We're like OP's like two different mindsets on this thing. But yeah, I mean, whatever you choose, like there is an absolutely possible way for you to be happy either way. And I think, I don't know, I have heard, this might be going on a tangent for too long, but I have heard someone explain like just general judgment in a way, like not even just with religion, but with anything, of like if someone is like taught that like they can't be a certain way, like I think it was explained with like, it was like someone talking about like fat people or something like that. It was like people have been taught to be ashamed of themselves if they gain any weight. So if they see someone else that has gained weight or is fat or anything like that, and they are not feeling ashamed, then they get mad at that person and start judging that person and want to tear them down, because it's like, wait a second, I am not allowed to do this, so why are you allowed to do this? That makes me mad. You know what I mean? So it might be something similar in this situation. So I don't know if there's like a way to kind of just like understand.
It's gonna be a lot of rewiring for OP.
It'll be like, maybe there's a way to understand where your parents are at and to just be like, you know what, they have their own experience with this, they have their own pressures that they're dealing with. Maybe some of it isn't related to me, or it doesn't need to apply to me. I don't know. It's so complicated.
Super complicated. Finish out the story. Disclaimer: I understand that a significant portion of my reasoning for no longer being Christian has to do with the way people have corrupted the Word of God. I see where that is. I also have a hard time believing the actual doctrine as well, but in fear of this post being longer than it already is, I did not want to include it. I think very highly of Christianity for what it truly is. I just don't necessarily believe it. I will not accept any hates towards Christians, and I discourage any person to do so.
I think that's good. I think a lot of people jump towards like hating and judging religion, and especially Christianity, because of a lot of examples of judgmental Christians, but it's like, that's not, you don't need to do that.
Yeah, fundamentally we're not supposed to judge as Christians. As a Christian, you're not supposed to judge other non-Christians, right? But as a Christian, you are supposed to hold your other fellow Christians accountable.
So yeah, don't hate Christians or Christianity.
And Christians don't hate non-Christians.
Yeah,
I mean that. Yeah, come on, you're supposed to love everyone. Yeah. God.
Oh, that's so tricky. That's so difficult. But yeah, hopefully you can find people that are in your position as well, and they can help you through it.
Facts.
But that's the end of that story.
Let's read this next one.
So we'll see you next time.